What's going on, everybody? My name is Machiavelli, and this Friday, Gunna released his last album under the YSL record label called The Last One. He's been going on a crazy run since like 2023. He dropped a dope record, went on tour with it. 2024, he released One of One, another album, and then this year he dropped kind of like the last one in the three-part series called The Last One. And bro, I ain't gonna lie, for it to be a hip-hop album in 2025 by a mainstream artist, I think it's pretty dope. Like, to be honest, I think, Gunna has evolved as an artist pretty good. He has deviated from the hip-hop sound that he was doing when he came up originally. That's the only thing that sets me off, but I think that his evolution has been great, though. I ain't gonna lie, his music sounds good. His vibe is on there. He has a good performance. His production is tight. He's cohesive. There's little to no filler on the album. It's good. It's not phenomenal. It's not remarkable. It's not a Let God Sort Him Out. It's not a GNX. It's not a God Loves Like Ugly. But it's good. You know what I'm saying? Compared to like the mainstream, trap drops we've gotten this year, like, the Jack Boys 2 album, the Wham album, the Sexy Songs for You, the Carter 6 even. I think this one's the best one of all of them, bro. In regards to a drop by a mainstream artist in 2025, I think it's the best one, even better than the Offset album. I really enjoying this Gunna album, bro. I think that the whole thing evolves. Like, the production is different on the second half of the album. It has a lot of features that's not of rap, but I'm gonna get that in a little bit later. But I want to point out how Gunna has been able to increase and to be able to dominate the game and to have the respect of everybody, even though he doesn't got the respect that he once had in the industry. Of course, we know the whole thing changed with Young Thug being locked up in the trial, until he got released in 2023. That's when he got out. But after he got out from jail, we haven't heard shit about him. He hasn't dropped a project. Of course, he got a lot of restrictions on him, but he hasn't gotten a good project. Nobody seems to care about him, after the trial and everything. And he's been dropping features. He was on the Lil Baby album. He released a song with Future. It didn't hit. He hasn't hit in anything when he came out, But the thing is, the Gunna, when he got out of the trial, everybody was like, yo, he's a snitch, he's this, I don't want to collaborate with Gunna. Gunna, like, he died for me, he died for hip-hop. He was with Thug, and now he betrayed him. It just goes against the values of the game, you know what I'm saying? But especially, like, when you're a street rapper and you hang around street people, you just break the code in there. We don't got no idea whether Gunna's a snitch or Gunna's a rat. We got no idea about it. People say Thug released him, so because he was under YSL, and anything that Gunna made, he went on tour, he went on to release music. Thug was still getting paid because of Gunna, because he's the owner of YSL, of course, and he's getting the money because he's an artist signed under him. But he also got tie losses with like Lil Baby, and especially Lil Baby. He's his main collaborator. He has been releasing songs with him since like 2018. They are an amazing duo. I love the music they dropped. Drip Too Hard, you know what I'm saying? Blindfold. I love the records they got together. But they just seem to drift apart. Lil Baby he don't care about Gunna. He don't fuck with him no more. And I mean, Gunna's basically just slapping him to the face with all the success he's having in terms of musicality and how he evolved as an artist. I think he's straight, bro. I think he has had probably one of the biggest transformations as any artist in the industry at this point. Not only like is his music, but in like his persona, I mean, the motherfucker was fat. When he came up, he was like the Peckers from like Clash Royale and shit, and then he just evolved and he dropped a lot of weight. He's like Jack now. I went to see him on tour a couple of years ago, 2023, when he dropped the Bittersweet tour with the Gift and the Curse album, the one that had Fuck You Mean on it, bro. Like, he dominated. He was on it on that tour. He was jumping around. He had a great show production. He was, he didn't need any backup. You know, he had the audience engaged. He was dancing. He had people on it. He had a Yeti, you know, that there was like in there. He was walking around the arena, bro. My respect to Gunna with that. Like, he really nailed that performance. Everybody was lit up. You know, it's hard to come up with a performance like that with hip hop. In contrast to like Lil Baby that I saw him, bro. The screens was like, it was a blind that fell down with the projector on it. That I thought it was embarrassing compared to what Gunna had done. You know, I mean, Lil Baby, I think he got more hits than Gunna. He sells more too. He's more commercially viable. I think he got more hits, but I enjoyed the Gunna show way much more because of the performance Gunna put, to be honest with that. But yeah, man, I'm really happy to see Gunna with this type of success. The album's doing great, and I really want to see what Gunna's doing after YSL. But I think he's playing it pretty well, because when a lot of artists, we know the label is against them. You know, we know that YSL doesn't care about Gunna because everybody thinks he snitched, everybody thinks he took advantage of Thug, and you know, it is the most rational thing to think, you know, so they want to sabotage him. But Gunna, you know, he didn't just release shit just to get out. Like, he actually made a solid project to maintain his image, and when he goes out of this deal, I want to see where he goes. You know, it's one of the artists that I really got on my target. They're like, okay, if he keeps going like this, he could keep increasing. He could be making amazing music. And one of the things though that kind of bothers me a little bit is that with this album there was a disconnect with like rap. You know, we had a lot of like dance hall thing. We had Wizkid, we had Burna Boy on the album. You know, it wasn't like he was so much with his frequent collaborators. You ain't got no more Drake, you ain't got no more Thug, you ain't got no more Baby, you ain't got no more Future, you ain't got none of them. You know, they already broke ties with you. You know, after what happened, is like nobody wants to mess with Gunna. But that's the thing. So Gunna has to adapt the sound to whatever new avenues he finds, new pockets. You know, it's kind of like what Drake's doing, but Drake, of course, you know, messing up with the culture and shit. Gunna comes from hip-hop. You know, we don't know for sure whether he snitched or not. It's just a perception the public has about him. But I think the how he's playing right now with the cards that he's been dealt, I think he's playing it amazingly. And he's not out of there doing interviews, and he's not out of there doing old press conferences and podcasts and all this shit. No, he's like moving silently, the same way Kendrick moved. I think it was like Joe Budden or something. Like, he's the Kendrick of Atlanta. You know, he's moving like that. He's moving silently. He's making moves. He's just dropping albums frequently. He's going to shows. He's just letting the work speak for itself. And that's what real artists do. You know, when you don't have to convince people to listen to your music, because the music itself convinces people to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? People speak for you because the music's good, you know. And that's what I applaud to Gunna. You know, I think other artists can learn from him. He's really finding his pocket. He's finding his sound. He's finding his vibe. To be honest, in my opinion, I don't like the new Gunna more than I like the old Gunna way much more. Like the Drip or Drown, you know, the Wonna album, like 2017, 2020. That for me was peak Gunna. But this new one, I respect it. I see the potential. I see it's not my sound. It's not my type of hip hop. But bro, I've been liking the album because it's good. You know, it's good art. Is a good vibe. Gunna nails it. It's not my preference, but it's good, and I respect that. You know, but I just see that, you know, he's really finding his pocket. He's going out of his way to really, you know, make a name for himself again. You know, even despite all the industry being against him, he got the audience, and we all respect Gunna now. You know, it's crazy. Even though Lil Baby probably gonna sell more than him, the public, Gunna's a fan favorite now, and he's, in my opinion, one of the best ones in Atlanta. So yeah, man, I just want to give him my 2 cents on that. I think Gunna is doing great. I think, like, I want to see what he's going to do after YSL, after this album. Where is, you know, his creative direction going to take him? Whether he's going to create a new sound, where he's going to keep in his pocket, you know, he's going to change the production. I don't know, bro, but he's, you know, I haven't seen an evolution like that, you know, in a while for an artist, you know, and I think he's showing signs of longevity, bro. And, you know, I just want the best for Gunna, bro. I loved him before. You know, when the trial thing happened, I'm like, you know, but we got no proof about it. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, what he's doing right now in the cards he's playing, I think it's the best moves Gunna could make. And, you know, he's really nailing it down. So, you know, big salute to Gunna about that. And, yeah, man, I'm just pretty excited to see what he could next. And I got you guys in the next video. One.